running with this Galisapod deck.
Yeah, I actually played Azul online on TCGO earlier, and I beat him with my Galisapod against his Greninja. So maybe that was the whole reason he's playing the deck he is now.
Yeah, that deck's pretty good.
Or maybe I'm just full of myself.
We'll see. All right. So here we go. Round number 6 already here at the Memphis Regional Championships. If you guys are watching at home, get on social media, use the hashtag #PlayPokemon. Tell us who you think is going to win this matchup. Is it going to be Ryan Grant with his Greninja deck, who is mulliganing once again, or will it be Azul with his Galisapod deck? I think I know the answer, but who do you think is favored in this matchup?
Well, if you're playing a lot of Enhance Hammers, that seems to be a pretty good thing.
We have one Pokemon that is weak to grass, and a Pokemon that is grass.
Yeah, and if you can't pick up your guys, that's not good.
So we'll see. I think this will definitely be an uphill battle for Ryan and this Greninja deck. You know, in some ways, Greninja is always an uphill battle. You always have that threat of starting the lone Froakie and never setting up and just getting knocked out right away. But it seems like that has not been an issue for him so far. Both these players are undefeated here in round number 6, 5-0, and we'll see what'll happen here.
Yep. Azul right now going to set down his prizes for us. As long as he doesn't see anything too wild, I think he'd be in a pretty good spot in this matchup. Just the fact that you're able to take out all these Greninja, you can remove splash energy so that Ryan doesn't get to play them all back down, and you can lock out the ability of Giant Water Shuriken if it ever does get online. Really just a great way to counter this deck, honestly.
Yeah, so nothing too big in the prizes for Azul, but on Ryan's side we see that Starmie and also Greninja, so not great prizes for him.
Yeah, if you're going to prize one piece, you might as well prize 2, unless you see us playing the 2-1 line that I've seen be somewhat popular now, but not sure about that. I guess the positive note, he didn't prize any Frogadier, which that can be pretty bad for you.
That is true. So, all right, here we go. Round number 6 here at the Memphis Regional Championships. Ryan starting off with that Froakie going up against Mewtwo. What do you know? One of the only cards from the XY Evolutions expansion that's seeing any tournament play right now.
Except for the energies. Those energy cards look nice.
Oh, yeah, those are great. But in terms of, like, Pokemon and trainers...
Yeah. Not much really stuck around.
Welcome, Mewtwo. All right. So Ryan starting off with the N after attaching his energy to Froakie. Yep. Mewtwo's Psychic Attack does do 20 plus 20 for each energy on your opponent's active Pokemon. So if Professor Kukui double colorless energy, you can see a Psychic turn 1 knockout.
Ryan, aware of this, now knows he's Ultra Ball has to get more Pokemon down on the field. Does not want to be left in a bad spot. One play I'd like to note, Ryan, real quick, when he looked at his hand, he did have Splash Energy, which is a card you generally want to play down on your Froakies and your Frogadiers so you can get all these cards back. But I think he got the memo about Azul's deck, and he knows that there's 4 Enhance Hammers waiting, and you can't afford to miss that energy drop.
Yeah, so Ryan just playing it safe, getting that second Froakie down. You could also, double colorless right on the Mewtwo. Look at that.
Getting ready.
Oh, that's bad. He just uses Psychic.
and there it is.
So Ryan did mulligan a bunch to start this game. Azul was stacked with like 10 cards in his opening hand, and Ryan played the N on his opening turn, and it seems like that has affected Azul quite a bit. Draws almost nothing off of his 6 cards, just the double colorless energy for the Mewtwo. But I don't know, if he doesn't draw something, I mean, a Greninja player setting up all their Greninja and you doing nothing is a bad recipe for you.
Yeah, weakness doesn't matter if you don't get attacked. So Ryan is going to be able to get all of these Frogadiers down, which means that if this one card in his hand is a playable supporter or something helpful, he's going to be able to continue this onslaught here. This really nice setup.
Yeah, great start for Ryan. Gets the turn 1 Froakie, turn 2 Frogadier, water duplicates, that's all you can ask for. Just a quick Psychic from Azul. He does get a knockout, so he's putting a little bit of pressure on, but I'm sure he would love to have more Pokemon on his board, but Oh, Ryan's actually going to play the end.
He has to. His hand, he didn't have much else there for him, and unfortunately, he's going to have to let Azul come back into this game now. We don't know what that prize was that Azul took. Maybe it was a card that was able to get his hand back into play, but Ryan really just needs to put on some pressure here. He'd love to find himself a Greninja. If he's able to lock out abilities with a Shadow Stitching before Azul ever gets a Lele off, that can be pretty big.
Definitely. But, you know, from Azul's side, as bad as your start was, this actually could turn out fine. You got the knockout on the Frogadier. That's the important thing. If he finds Golisopod GX here, he can first impression and just keep putting the pressure on. That's all you can really do against Greninja. And Ryan did not find a Greninja on that turn, just retreated his Frogadier and passed.
Yep. Azul now, he's got the Ultra Ball in hand, so looks like he can either try to find that Golisopod right now or focus on a Tapu Lele to get his setup really rolling here. Don't know what else he has in his hand, but it looks like he's setting up for a pretty nice Bridget right now.
Sure seems like it. I got to think he wants to get Golisopod this turn. One thing you don't want to give to a Greninja deck is time. One of the biggest problems with Greninja is you just fall too far behind before you can actually set up your Pokemon. So each knockout you can take early in the game is a big deal.
Yep, his hand, we did see a little bit of it. It does have Golisopod, a Choice Band for his Trubbish, and he's holding a Sycamore in hand. So exactly what he wants to see here, able to take the knockout on the Froakie as well. So Azul definitely in the driver's seat.
Sure seems like it. He's got the energy on that Golisopod GX, gets all his basics down, and next turn if he finds double colorless energy, he can use that big armor press. And Ryan's going to be in some trouble. We do see he finds Evo Soda, so does find his first Greninja. And the Super Rod's going to shuffle in probably Frogadier and some energy, perhaps a Froakie as well. But no, just like looks like 2 water energy and Frogadier.
Yep.
And we'll see if he has a supporter card for the turn.
Yeah, he's in a pretty good spot if Azul doesn't find a way to swap out. It's unlikely, being that he has some pretty good cards available to him, and that double colorless really could just continue all of this power here. But Ryan did find a Choice Band. He's able to get a little extra damage down on the Golisopod here too. So, and if this Splash Energy is able to stick, he can pick all these pieces back up too.
Yeah, seems like only one Greninja for Ryan, though. He would love to have multiple in play. He does have an Ultra Ball if he wanted to go that route. Perhaps Ultra Ball for another Greninja in this situation, so he could then evolve to Greninja Break on the following turn.
Yep.
It looks like he's having some problems figuring out which cards to discard. It looks like Tapu Fini GX as well as Skyla are going to head to the discard pile.
Yeah, and this means he has no supporter left in his hand, so he might just go ahead and grab one now before the Garbodor comes into play. He also has Field Blower in his hand too, so he might just grab Lele and hold on to it for when he wants to grab the supporter. Looks like he's eyeing up the Sycamore right now, though.
Yeah, just going to Wonder Tag for that Professor Sycamore so he can have a supporter card for the following turn. This is a scary position to be in. He can either Moonlight Slash for 90 damage, keeping the energy there, or go for the full 110 and try to set up for a 2-hit knockout that way. Kyle, which one do you think he should do?
I feel like you have to judge Azul's hand here and think if he has the Enhanced Hammer or not. And I feel like if you keep the Splash Energy, you have your best chance of winning, just because you're going to need these resources to stay in the fight. Having that Frogadier to play on the Froakie and the Greninja to play right back down on the Frogadier is really what's going to keep him having the consistent amount of attackers, and that 20 extra damage may not be terribly relevant.
So we did see the Professor Sycamore, but I don't believe we saw a double colorless energy from Azul, which means he will not be able to knock out this Greninja unless he also drew a Float Stone. He now has a second Golisopod GX down, and Garbotoxin is in effect here. Does he have a Float Stone? No, just a first impression for 60 damage. This could be the opening Ryan needed.
Yeah, you never want to do a first impression for 30 like we were talking about, and it just happened here just because Azul wasn't able to find what he needed. He had a lot of great cards available to him off that Sycamore. Being able to find just a Floatstone or a double colorless energy, even the Enhanced Hammer just to slow Ryan down a little bit would have been great, but missed all of those.
Yeah, so not a great turn for Azul. Seems like he's still okay. He has the Garbotoxin in effect. Got a couple Glycopod GX up and running.
One thing he's missing is he has no free retreaters. So even if he does get knocked out, he would really like to have a way to bring that Glycopod to the active spot without just promoting.
Yeah. Do you see the field blower from Ryan getting rid of the tool on that Garboter? So now he's free to use abilities if he can find that Greninja break, which he does. And we'll see if he can find another Greninja as well. Well, he does. And Evo Soda. So this is a great turn for Ryan, advancing his board even further. He'll have access to Giant Water Shuriken, which can lead to a knockout on this active Glycopod GX, and he might be making a comeback.
Yeah, we also saw the Espeon that was in his hand. That means he could have potentially start to de-evolve. This is one deck that you can't really de-evolve too well, though. The 60 damage doesn't work too well when all of the basics underneath have 70 hit points. But he can start to work on that if he wants to. And we're going to see him just start to put some pressure on these Glycopods. If there are no Glycopods, you're just playing against a Garbodor Mewtwo deck, and he can beat that.
Yeah, Mewtwo not very effective against Greninja. And I think Ryan trying to decide if he wants to return the energy to his hand.
It's tough.
With Moonlight Slash here.
I feel like it's hard to dodge the Enhanced Hammer twice. And he'd really like to have an energy to attach in the following turn. But yeah, it looks like he's just going to go with that 90 damage.
Yeah, I wonder if he perhaps miscalculated. The Moonlight Slash would have been 10 short of a knockout, but the Acerola picking up that Glycopod GX, removing all the damage, and that is a back-breaking thing to see. All that damage you just did evaporating, and now a new Glycopod GX coming out. The Enhanced Hammer discarding the Splash Energy. First impression for the knockout, and this all of a sudden does not look great for Ryan.
Yep. That's definitely a big swing turn. It looks like they were talking about if the Glycopod was being promoted, if it was going to be doing the 30 or the 120. But I believe that Glycopod was already down before the switching went on. But good to make sure.
Yeah, so now Azul down to 3 prizes against Ryan's 6. Can he make a comeback here? That Splash Energy being discarded by Enhanced Hammer was devastating.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would have had a whole line of Greninja break in his hand. Now he's going to have to draw into more and more pieces. We see the first one with Greninja break, though.
Yeah, the rest of his hand, however, not too great. He drew into another of his Brooklet Hill and a lot of Froakie. They do the same thing, so that's not very great for him there. He does have an energy available to him for a Giant Water Shuriken. Just probably going to start setting up on the bench there so that he can maybe get this two-hit knockout rolling for him in the future turn.
See another Moonlight Slash, this time for 60. No more Choice Band. Is setting up a knockout for the next turn. We'll see if Azul can finally find a double colorless energy to perhaps get a knockout. Otherwise, he probably need another Acerola, or he does have Guzma in hand. He could go after the benched Greninja here. Many options for our Glycopod player. We'll see which one he wants to go for.
Yeah, he has the Guzma there. That looks like probably the best line for him if he's not able to find cards like the Floatstone or the Acerola, or the double colorless, of course. And he could just take out that Greninja on the bench there, and that just leaves Ryan with a Greninja break and a Froakie. And it doesn't matter if he has pieces from the Splash Energy afterwards, if he doesn't have the evolution line kind of set up on his bench already.
Yep, so there's the Guzma bringing out that Greninja on the bench, and first impression doing 120 damage times 2 for the weakness means that Greninja is going to be knocked out. And Ryan finds himself down 4 prize cards here. What can he do to come back?
Well, looks like he would need 2 water energy if he was going to be able to get a giant water shuriken on the active and then retreat and use Espeon to de-evolve those Golisopod. Azul doesn't have a free retreater available to make the Golisopod, which is a wind pod right now, be able to do the full 240 damage. So maybe that line is available to him. He might just also just have to keep attacking and try to set up more of these Froakies, but there's only 2 prize cards left, so running out of time here.
Yeah, we'll see if he does go for that Espeon EX play. I mean, it's been interesting to note that Azul got Garbotoxin out early in the game, but after that Field Blower just has not found another tool. So Ryan has been free to use his abilities, but looks like he's wishing he had basic water energy, and all he has is splash energy in his hand. If he'll play an N here, this could be the start of a comeback, putting Azul down to 2 cards.
Yeah, early in the game, he did Super Rod 2 waters in, I believe, so he should have some available to him, but having that Starmie line prized has been pretty difficult against his setup here. He just hasn't had water energies as freely as he'd like to.
So 6 cards here.
Just 1.
Ryan drawing 2 splash energy. You cannot use those for Giant Water Shuriken. You also cannot attach them to Espeon EX. So even though splash energy is great, I'm sure Ryan just wishes they were basic water energy right here.
That's right. He can try. We're not going to let him, but yeah. Looks like he might just have to put some damage on the bench Golisopod and hit the active. Maybe he can set up a double knockout in the following turns, but it's just so difficult when you don't have a Greninja already on the bench. That means no Greninja break is available unless he plays Wally.
And looks like he's going to go full spread mode here. Put 6 damage counters on the benched Wimpod over there. And I wonder if he'll even attack with this Greninja. Looks like no. He can hit for 20 damage. Oh, he's actually just going to go for the Tapu Storm GX. I was thinking he could do 20 damage, set up the active for the Espeon EX, and then Giant Water Shuriken, the bench Wimpod next turn, and go for the full sweep with Espeon EX. But it looks like just the Tapu Storm is going to be his choice.
Yeah.
And again, Azul has no free retreating Pokemon, as you pointed out, so no easy way for him to use First Impression for 120 damage. If he did have Choice Band and Double Colorless, he could Crossing Cut GX to win the game, but off an end to 2 cards doesn't seem very likely.
Yeah, he does have the Float Stone, so felt okay promoting the Garbodor right there. And it looks like he has a Guzma as well, so he can start to target down one of these Pokemon on the bench if he wants to. That Greninja does look like a pretty great Pokemon to start targeting down here.
Yep, and we do see Float Stone, so Garbotoxin back in effect. It's going to make Ryan's comeback much tougher, and so will this Guzma. Probably going to go after that Greninja break, but actually no, going after a Tapu Lele GX. Azul's just going to pass. Wow.
He might have counted that Ryan's low on water energies and not going to be able to get out of Staryu. He might think that this Lele is just stuck. If there's no Splash, he can't use Splash Energy to retreat, and he doesn't play Guzmas in his deck. Azul might just be able to sit here and pass for how many ever cards Ryan has left, and he wins.
Wow, that is something I did not consider. Yeah, he's just going to try to deck him out.
Says, I think you're out of waters.
He might be right. I mean, Ryan only has a few cards left in his deck. I mean, even if he draws a water at this point, he might not have enough time to even take enough prizes to win.
Yeah, Azul's going to just count right now, and I think I've already seen like 4 or 5 in there. If he has some prize, maybe that could just be it.
Certainly could be. Ryan draws another card, and it is not a water energy. And Greninja decks tend to not use Guzma either, so that will not be an option for him to switch. He does play Super Rod, so potentially he could Super Rod and shuffle 3 water energy back into his deck.
Yep. Is it just the 1? Yeah, he
That's
used
it.
Yeah.
Ryan draws, his last card was water energy, and he had 2 energy prized, as well as the Starmie. But Azul properly reading the situation and says,
I don't think you have it. And
seems
he
like
didn't.
you're out of water energy. How about we just bring out this Tapu Lele and see what happens? And Well, he won.
It's a pretty strong read because there were 3 water energies that could have potentially been in his deck, with 2 being in the prize cards and 1 actually being in the deck just at the bottom, though. But if he did have the Guzmas available, he would be able to continue just bringing up that Lele, and eventually Ryan just does run out of energies.
That is not the way I expected that game to end, but hey, that's just why Azul is constantly winning at these tournaments. He's a multiple-time regional champion, and it's for plays like that. Being able to adapt in the middle of the game and find an unconventional way to win. It's arguable that he would have won even just by attacking, but gave himself the best way, the highest percentage way to win that game, and hey, he's up 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, why risk letting your opponent take a prize card, which could have been more waters, and then let him back into the game? You could just lock him out like that, and it's honestly just muscle memory at this point for Azul. He's played this matchup so many times, and he's been in these situations so often that he just sees the lines all the time.
So we see Azul has 1 Garbodor, 1 Trubbish, and 1 Tapu Koko in his prize cards. Nothing too big, but might be annoying to have the Tapu Koko prized. For Ryan, nah, nothing big. There's a Splash Energy, a Froakie, but no Frogadier, no Greninja. Looks good.
Yeah, has a field blower at the bottom of his prizes, which means that if he draws into it at the normal time of taking prizes, it's probably right about the time that your opponent gets a Garbodor with a tool, so that could come into play too.
And if you're watching at home, tell us who you think is going to win this matchup. Use that hashtag #PlayPokemon on Twitter and tell us, do you think Azul is going to close out this series, or will Ryan make a comeback with Greninja after he uses Brooklet Hill there to search for a Froakie, put it on his bench? And back to Azul's turn. He will also use Brooklet Hill, even though I don't think there are actually any targets in his deck.
Yeah, he does not have any targets, but always good to get all this information right now. The opening search, you're always just trying to figure out what's in your prizes. Do I need to change up my game plan? And this might give him a little more of an idea of what supporter he wants to start the game with, or what his lines should be in this beginning turn.
Yeah, and that's a great tip for anybody just starting off. Anytime you can get extra information, take the opportunity. Use Brooklet Hill like Azul just did. He got to search through his deck and see if any important cards were prized, which can inform what plays he makes in future turns. It might seem like a trivial thing, or even like a cheap thing to look through your deck even though you know it'll fail, but it gives you crucial information. You never know what's in your prize cards until you get to look through your deck, and hey, now he knows.
Yep. Maybe Orion's Octillery or Remoraid's hiding in his deck. Who knows? Well, Ryan just needs to do one thing on this turn, and that is get Frogadier out, and looks like he's got that ready for himself.
Yep. Well, he needs Frogadier. He also needs a Water Energy.
Yeah, that too.
And we'll see if he has one. I didn't see one in his hand yet, but there's a chance he has a supporter, maybe Professor Sycamore or something like that, to dig for a Water Energy.
Yeah, you normally wouldn't see someone using Evo Soda right now to evolve when you know you can just get the Frogadiers into play with water duplicates. But it looks like that's what his hand's telling him he has to do. He's going to use this Ultra Ball and thin out even more, get all these Pokemon into play, and then use that supporter for the turn.
Yeah, so we see another Frogadier coming down, and Ultra Ball for Staryu. Ryan saying, nope, that's not happening again. I'm not going to run out of energy this time.
I need those waters.
And we do see Professor Sycamore. Will he find a Water Energy off those 7? And it looks like the answer is yes. But will he want to attach the Splash Energy or the basic Water Energy?
He also drew a Frogadier, which you don't want to do that when you're about to get them for free.
Yeah, I was going to say one of the downsides of actually using that Evo Soda is if you draw a Frogadier off of your Sycamore, you can't play it down.
Right.
So now he's only going to be able to water duplicates for 1 Frogadier. Still has 3 in play, but still would have been nice to have that extra one.
Yeah, Azul's eyes might light up here, honestly, just seeing 1 Frogadier down. So, oh, maybe it's prized.
Yeah.
No, Ryan's just unlucky and drew into it.
So now back to Azul's turn. He's going to play an N, so both players will shuffle in and draw 6 cards, since no prizes have been taken yet. But yeah, Frogadier is the key to that Greninja deck. Use that water duplicates attack, get to search for up to 3 Frogadier, put them right on your bench. Even though they're not basic Pokemon, The attack lets you do it, so you just put down a bunch of stage 1 Pokemon. Lets you get one step closer to that Greninja. And we'll see if Azul got any way to move his Wimpod out of the active spot. It's not the first turn anymore. He cannot Wimp out, and it has a 3 retreat cost. So if he doesn't find a Float Stone, he's kind of stuck.
Yeah, he found, Azul found a lot of reactive cards. He's got an Enhance Hammer in hand, but he wants to play that on the turn that he's taking a knockout. He doesn't want Ryan to just play another one down, and then he's stuck there. And, well, Ryan's going to do it anyways. But Azul also had double colorless energy. Doesn't want to play that down just yet because Ryan plays Enhance Hammers of his own. He could just Skyla and grab that right now if he wanted. So wisely going to hold on to all these cards and hopefully just finds that extra piece for himself. That Float Stone, or maybe uses Acerola next turn to get himself out of the active if Wimpod survives this attack.
It looks like Ryan gonna use the Moonlight Slash. Goes to discard the water energy, or the splash energy, but
you can
that
keep
gets returned to his hand. And all right, so we do see Enhanced Hammer as well as double colorless energy. Something we did not see at all in the last game, but it's gonna be very scary for Ryan, a fully powered Golisopod GX. Able to use Armor Press. And Azul, strangely enough, is losing this game. Usually Greninja is the one behind at the start of a game, but now Azul is the one having to make the comeback.
Yeah, Azul gets to put himself in a pretty good spot here, shuffling back in that splash energy with this N now. And he's going to be able to remove 3 pieces of Greninja into the discard pile, which means Ryan needs to find cards like Rescue Stretcher or his Super Rod to continue to get all these frogs into play.
And that Armor Press will be a knockout on that Greninja. And if you're Ryan, I think the one thing you want to find here is that Tapu Fini GX and Tapu Storm that thing back into your opponent's deck. Enhanced Hammer works as well. And we'll see if he decides to attack with Greninja Break this turn now. Well, we see the Lily. We don't see that very often.
Yeah, usually it's Azul playing that in his Volcanion deck, but no, Ryan's going to get some use out of it. And
wow.
Really good spot here. Was able to pick up 2 more evolutions with his Frogadiers, and his hand is pretty stacked. He's got Skyla to go get another supporter or whatever card he would need item-wise.
He's got Starmie Space Beacon now. Oh, no water energy in his discard pile, though, just the splash energy.
Now Azul knows he has a Brooklet Hill in his hand.
Interestingly enough, you could actually use Space Beacon even if there are no water energy in your discard pile. So if Ryan did announce Space Beacon, he would have to discard his Brooklet Hill, but looks like just going to have him take it back.
Yeah. Well, wise choice here from Ryan, not using Moonlight Slash, instead going with locking out the abilities, because Azul had 2 Tapu Lele in his hand, and he was going to definitely get himself a good supporter there.
Sure seems like it. Going to see another usage of Brooklet Hill here from Azul. Going to search through his deck and see, oh man, there's still no fighting or water Pokemon in my deck.
Where's my Passimian?
How unlucky. Yeah, where's my Remoraid? But once again, just refreshing himself, seeing if anything important is prized.
Yep. Also gets to just look to see, probably wants to know about the double colorless energies and see if they're all there.
Yeah. And I actually do think that Ryan used Moonlight Slash last turn because of the Armor Press.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So yeah, he must have done that for the 70 damage. But interestingly enough, Azul actually played down Tapu Lele and didn't Wonder Tag.
I think he just wants the Pokemon to play a Floatstone on, honestly, if it comes up.
Yeah, that could certainly be it. It's just not a play we see very often.
Right. I don't need this ability.
So Ultra Ball will discard that Mewtwo, which was the hero in the first game, got a knockout.
Oh, yeah.
But here, simply going to the discard pile with that Ultra Ball.
He did his job. Evolutions is proud.
And, oh, just a first impression for 60 damage. Now, he does have Garbotoxin in effect now, so those Greninja Break won't be as useful. But I think it's got to be painful having an opportunity to get a knockout on that Greninja break and once again failing.
Yeah.
This is one of the downsides of Glycopod GX. It does take a little bit of maintenance to continually attack for big damage. It's not quite like Zoroark GX, where once you have all the Pokemon out, you're hitting for 120 damage constantly. You have to be switching your Pokemon in and out. Otherwise, you don't get that bonus damage, and you get some pathetic turns where you're just like, 30.
Here you go.
Not what you want to be doing on like turn 5.
Yeah. Attacking and only putting one dice down is usually bad.
Looks like we're going to see another Moonlight Slash for 90 damage thanks to the Choice Band. And we'll see if Azul got something this time. It's a little less exciting now to attach Double Colorless Energy and attack, because your Glycopod will probably get knocked out in the following turn, but we'll see if he has any better options.
Yeah, if he found a Acerola, that'd be a pretty great card for him here. He'd be able to pick up all this damage, play right down into a new Glycopod, and knock out this Greninja break, even if he had an Anti-Hammer too along with that. But it's a lot to ask for. He did find the double colorless finally, so there's a way to remove this Greninja. It just might not be as clean as it could be.
So we saw the Heavy Ball there. That's a card we don't see a lot of, but it's a perfect fit for this deck, since so many Pokemon actually have a 3 retreat cost. There is Glycopod GX, Wimpod actually has 3 retreat, Garbodor has 3 retreat. So Heavy Ball is almost like search your deck for any Pokemon you want. The only things it can't get are the Tapu Lele GX and Trubbish, and then the other random basic Pokemon you have in there. But being able to search out that many Pokemon is pretty great.
Yeah, it's also you don't have to get rid of all those resources with the Ultra Ball that you normally have to. It's just nice to be able to hold on to these cards that you know you're going to need.
So Azul did commit that Double Colorless Energy to his active Glycopod GX. And we see the Ultra Ball for a second Garbodor. You know, he only has one tool in play, but you know, if something were to happen to one of his Garbodor, he's got to back up. And this is a fully developed board at this point. 3 Glycopod, 2 Garbodor, Garbotoxin in effect, and we see the Crossing Cut GX to protect that Glycopod GX, knowing that he's safe because Giant Water Shuriken can't be used in the face of Garbotoxin.
Yeah, it's a really good spot here. Ryan's going to have to find the Field Blower and the Water Energies to be able to start getting some pressure onto that Glycopod, and Ryan's had a really hard time doing that. He does, however, find that Field Blower now.
Bad news for Azul. Garbotoxin is gone, so Giant Water Shuriken's open. Does Ryan find any Water Energy, though?
Yep, just one Giant Water Shuriken would be able to knock out that Glycopod. I know the dice can be a little bit confusing when you got 4 on there.
Yeah. Well, actually, what is it?
I think it's 160 right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he'd be just one would be able to do it.
Yeah, seems like it. Yeah, the 4 dice even threw me off.
Yeah. Clean it up, gentlemen.
All right, so big N from Ryan. He's going to get 5 cards. His opponent will get 4, but Ryan needs to draw a single Water Energy off of these 5 cards to get the big knockout here. If he can, he's going to be in some trouble.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Water Energy would be huge. And he could knock out Glycopod, and then he could just Space Beacon to get it back to attack. But no Water Energy at all. And he has to retreat and just send out Froakie as a sacrifice and pass.
Yeah, not even a Splash Energy to potentially save these Greninjas from just being knocked out and not coming back up to the hand. So Ryan finding himself in a pretty bad spot. If Azul's able to get out of the active, any card like a Guzma would be fantastic for him here.
See another Heavy Ball. Could search for the Wimpod, but decides not to. And we'll see if Azul can move out his Tapu Lele GX. Can he find another Float Stone this turn? And looks like, well, just going to play the end. He decides not to attach to the active. You know, he could have attached to that Tapu Lele GX and retreated and at least gotten a knockout here, but looks like he's opting to attach to the bench and hope to draw a Float Stone to retreat. That was another big thing that happened with the Field Blower. Discarded the Float Stone from that Tapu Lele GX.
Right, and I don't know if Azul has it. He has pretty good cards for the following turn with more Grass Energy and the Guzma in his hand. But this turn was relatively weak, and now with no tool on that Garboter, Ryan can come up, and if he has water energies, we're in the same spot as we were last turn.
Yeah, the awkward thing for Ryan is he has no energy in play right now, and he has the Froakie active. So if he wants to retreat, he has to use his attachment for the turn on Froakie. And you can only retreat once per turn. So all he could really do is attach, retreat, and then Giant Water Shuriken.
Yeah.
He can knock out the one Goliathspod, but then there's another one waiting for him.
And you just let him get a free shot at your Greninja break.
Yeah, and since you attach to the active, you also can't attach splash energy. So you can't even potentially save those resources. I think that's why Azul did what he did. He realized that even if my opponent retreats in Giant Water Shurikens, it's not really that bad for me.
Yeah. Ryan now is going to end himself, get himself 5 cards. Try to find some answers here. Definitely wants to find more water energies and potentially another field blower just in case Azul's able to get that tool down next turn.
And now if you're Ryan, you have to wonder, what is the best line of play? Do you go for the straight knockout on that Goliathspod GX, or do you try to spread the damage out and go for the big Espeon EX Miraculous Shine to try to win that way? If you go that route, if Azul were to miss a way to retreat here, it could be a pretty big deal. Yeah, we'll see what he does.
Yeah.
All right, just going right for it. Taking the 2 prize cards. And going down to 3. But again, he cannot retreat again. Cannot attach to attack, so just gonna see the knockout, and that's it. And oh my goodness, double Floatstone from Azul. Gonna see the first impression knockout. Garbotoxin is back. This does not look good for our Greninja player.
Yeah, Ryan needs to find more field blower now, and even then, he doesn't have a way to stop this Goliathspod if a double colorless energy were to come down. So he's got to have to find a way to combat all of this with all the weakness in play, and running out of Froakies to get more Greninjas down. He might be just limited to these 2 for the rest of the game.
I'm not sure how many field blowers he's used so far, but I know at least 1, and there are only 2 in his deck. So there's a chance he might not have abilities for the rest of the game, and if that's the case, I don't know how he's going to win this one.
Yeah, it's definitely looking bleak then. Sycamore draws him into a lot of cards that don't do too much. He found some splash energy and a super rod, but looks like attacking into here is going to be pretty awkward for him. And yeah, just Moonlight Slash for 80 damage. Hopefully being able to use your Giant Water Shuriken next turn and set up a knockout, but it's rough.
Just another first impression from Azul, though. Only 60 damage. That was a big missed opportunity for him now.
Yeah.
This is a big opening for Ryan. If he can, find that field blower, get some Giant Water Shurikens off, could make a comeback here. He could even just retreat into Espeon EX and Miraculous Shine and knock out this Goliathspod. He's got some options.
Yeah, it's both decks are so volatile, and Azul's just, if his hand doesn't work out for him, he's just stuck doing nothing. And Ryan can't do too much either because he needs to use Giant Water Shurikens and they're locked out. So looks like he is eyeing up some alternate routes here and might be using that Espeon just to get a prize card.
Yeah, I'd put him down to 2, which means he would just have to knock out 1 GX to win the game. Certainly might not be a bad option here.
Yeah, especially when Azul's down to just 1 more attacker, it looks like also that he might just be all in on that final Goliathspod.
Do you see Super Rod shuffling in, Greninja Break, Water Energy, and Tapu Fini GX. Tapu Storm GX could be useful in the late stages of this game.
Yeah.
He can Miraculous Shine to return the Goliathspod GX back to Azul's hand, and the Wimpod then gets knocked out. So he's only left with 1 Wimpod, so if he can Tapu Storm that back into his deck,
yeah,
he'll have no way to get Goliathspod out.
Azul has no one-hit knockout potential here. Already used his GX attack for the game, so looks like he is going to be able to only do 150 damage, which is still respectable, but he's not going to be able to clean up the way he wants to. Potentially could set up for a Tapu Koko spread to knock out that Espeon if he wants, but I think a lot of those resources are already gone.
And now he does get another Wimpod down. So even a Tapu Storm doesn't quite lock him out of the game. And this is still pretty much anyone's game at this point. I think a big factor will be whether or not Ryan finds his Field Blower. You know, got to get those abilities back. But even so, these tech cards like the Espeon EX can come in handy. But we do see the first impression for 150 damage. How will Ryan respond?
Looks like he's got some more pieces with a Greninja Break. Splash Energy's coming down. Haven't seen too many Enhance Hammers out of Azul, but he hasn't really had the option to play them, so that might just be what Azul's deck is left being, a few energies and some hammers.
And at this point, you know, Ryan just might run in there and hit him with the big Moonlight Slash and say, hey, if you draw a double colorless energy, well, congrats. If you don't, this game's over.
Right.
I guess Acerola.
Well, even if he does get the double colorless, he's also going to open up the Tapu Storm to happen too, though. So.
All right, so 110 damage off the Moonlight Slash. Does Azul draw something to prevent his opponent from winning? Looks like he has a Guzma in hand. That can at least save his Galisipod GX. And yeah, with the Guzma, he could go after, Espeon EX.
Yeah, it's one way to do it.
And this Tapu Lele GX is going to go with the Energy Drive, going down to one prize. And now it's up to Ryan. Does he find his Field Blower? Looks like he's got a Skyla, perhaps. Is it in his deck? If he's got Field Blower, I think he wins.
Yeah, I don't think he has it. He might have already used them.
Oh, no. It's not in his prizes, is it?
Yeah, he's looking diligently through the deck to see if there's just anything that can help him out here.
He may have used both Field Blowers, and if that's the case, he can't get the win here.
Yeah, he might just be stuck using Bubble. It's the only real way I see him to prevent a Galisipod from coming active and taking a knockout on any Pokemon on his side of the field.
Yeah, he is going to Skyla for the Sycamore and then Brooklet Hill for that Tapu Fini GX. I mean, he could Bubble or just send out the Tapu Fini, since that's the only thing in his deck that can take an attack here.
Yeah, he can hit for 20. Do you have to switch? I don't think you have to.
Yeah, I think it's you may. Or you can just Tapu Storm.
Shuffle it in, yeah.
But if Azul has a Guzma on this turn, he will take this series 2-0. Does he have the game-winning Guzma? Draws card for the turn. And maybe?
It's going to leave us all wondering. Yeah, can't see what he really has in his hand there. Does have Acerola, so he's going to be able to pick up all that damage on the Galisipod.
So no win this turn.
He can honestly just start attaching grass energies. Yeah, do it the old-fashioned way, the theme deck style. Get all those grass on there, and with just the 120 on the Tapu Fini, that means that next turn any of these Pokemon will be knocked out if he has access to that grass energy. There is no Tapu Storm available to shuffle in this Galisipod GX, and now it's Bubble.
Sure seems like it. I think Azul has to be comfortable, you know, after Ryan played his Skyla and didn't grab a Field Blower.
Yeah.
You have to know at that point, you have pretty much locked this up. And I don't really know what Ryan can do. I am curious to know if it's in his prizes or if he's simply played both at this point, but the way it stands now, I don't see any way for Ryan to really prevent this inevitable loss from Galisipod. I mean, like you said, you can always Bubble, but Well, you got to think Azul has a Guzma left.
And I think Azul has more deck left also.
Yeah.
So you can stall as much as you want, but you're going to run out of time.
Yeah, the only other thing, so yeah, he could bubble, and he would have to power up Starmie for Star Freeze. Here's the first bubble, and
that's the last bubble.
All right. Gonna say you could go deep and go for Starmie Star Freeze,
Yep.
and it does 30 damage, and you flip for paralysis. So 6 turns of that, you got yourself